We have just landed in LA and we're gonna be spending some time living with the Maserati Grecale Trofeo. It's right here behind me. Finished in a nice shade of dark blue. Go ahead, unlock it. Already loaded my stuff into the trunk. Go ahead, press the button. Opens up the power lift gate. Just a duffel bag and my suitcase. And with that, got about a 2-hour drive to where we're staying outside of LA. Let's go. The Trofeo. All right. One of the first things I'm noticing is how deep these cup holders are. For a really tall water bottle, and that fits actually quite nicely in there. That's a very, very deep cup holder. Oof, the thing is potent. Late drive last night in typical LA traffic, but this morning we're heading out in the Grecale Trofeo. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my backpack in the passenger seat. So it does this double beep when you unlock it, not just when you lock it. This is the twin turbo V6, 523 horsepower. The other options are mild hybrid 4-cylinders, but this is the performance one. See, surround view cameras, this is option the 360 view backup camera. They're actually pretty good resolution. And we also have adjustable height suspension, and the friend's house I'm staying at, the driveway is a little low intense. So we're gonna go on off-road 2, which will raise up the suspension height so we can get out without scraping anything. I don't think this will be a problem. I'm more worried about the MC20 with this driveway later, but you know, we have it, might as well try it out. Initial impressions so far, I've probably done like 80 to 90 miles on the freeway so far. The ride is decent. It's not like super luxury, like floaty. It definitely has more sporty tendencies. A lot of solid passing power and some nice creature comforts and tech. This definitely feels very different from the past Maseratis I spent time with. So the Levante was the first ever SUV crossover in the brand's history, and I was not super in love with the Levante. So that's kind of my frame of reference as I'm spending time with the Grecale. All right, we grabbed a quick breakfast. Start her up. We got Griffin, we got Ricky. First impressions of the Maserati Grecale Trofeo.
I like the upshift farts.
Yes, it does make upshift farts. Yes,
I like the quick disconnects door opening button.
Quick disconnect door opening
Yeah,
button.
it's like
That's
a really
pretty
like it's pretty nice.
Yeah,
I like the door opening button.
Yeah.
Got these expert car reviewers here. You don't look that comfortable. You can move your seat back a little bit.
I'm not, dude. My back's killing me.
And then,
Oh yeah, you're old now. So.
and then this seat, it feels like it's moving too far forward. But it's got ample headroom. I like that. Yeah.
It's got Apple headroom.
Apple. All right, we're gonna toggle into sport mode. You can hear the exhaust valves open up, the dampers. You can press this damper to change from sport into regular. Go to regular.
What's Corsa?
Corsa means race.
I know, but like,
Oh, it just turns off stability and traction. It goes even more extreme, see?
oh, I like the gauges.
Yeah, actually it's pretty cool.
Sounds like two smart cars arguing.
I don't think Maserati would like that description.
Sorry.
That's going on the blooper reel.
Quiet mode for revs, comfort, couple revs. Now we'll go into Corsa. It's not bad. These exhaust tips look pretty cool too. I like a squared off.
Carbon?
Yeah, carbon diffuser. It's the Grecale Trofeo. It means something with wind. Yeah, the Maserati guacamole. Groceries are so expensive now. This was just $122 of groceries going into the back of the Maserati. Also, California charges for bags because California. Well, this is actually a pretty nice sized crossover SUV. It's bigger than I expected it to be. I think I heard somebody say that the wheelbase is actually longer than a Cayenne, but the overall length is shorter. I gotta go look up all of those specific details, but it definitely has quite a bit of practicality. Passenger space inside is quite nice. And of course, we have a practical trunk. Always return your shopping carts. Be a good human being. Where am I returning this to? Oh, it's around the corner. Always return your shopping carts. And it seems every time you get in, you have to hit accept before the system pops up. And then CarPlay is already paired. Wireless CarPlay. Arrived at Chill, time to fuel up. The fuel door is on the left. 126 miles empty. Fuel up for tomorrow. Let's see how expensive this California 91 is. Ah, we only get 91. Also, the fuel door on this thing is utterly gigantic. It's pretty massive. There we go. Still has a little cap thing, a little place to put that. All right, we're showing 302 miles empty on a full tank. Good morning. We have some beautiful weather today, so we're gonna take the Grecale Trofeo out, go find some nice curvy roads and film the formal review. And then later on today, we may be actually going to a Super Bowl party with my friend Griffin. But first things first, let's see what the Grecale Trofeo is like when you get on some nice roads and start pushing this performance crossover a bit. Really nice styling has always been something that Maserati has done a good job with, but this Grecale signifies a new direction. You get a lot of MC20 inspired cues. Look at those headlights. A lot of the familiar Maserati things like the grille shape I mentioned. We have those 3 little vents on the side, which most Maseratis have come with in modern era. I do like the styling direction a lot more than some of the previous ones, like the Ghibli, Quattroporte, and the Levante. Wasn't a huge fan of. I think this looks a lot better. This is a compact crossover, so this is in the segment of like a Macan, a BMW X3. It's also platform shared with the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, but I think I did a good job changing up a lot of cues. At first, it didn't look like it was exactly a Stelvio thing. You know how sometimes when they're on the same platform, they look really, really similar. Think like Audi Q8 and a Lamborghini Urus. They did a pretty good job with some differentiation and, of course, lots and lots of Maserati cues. See in the headlight there, you have the little trident, the Maserati script. We have the Trident logo up front, the big Trident down there, carbon fiber on the front splitter. And then we have carbon fiber side skirts here too. See, the Trofeo script has a little red accent. Same thing around back. This Maserati Trident logo has a double red accent. That indicates it's a Trofeo model. And then we have a lot of carbon fiber on that rear diffuser with those exhaust tips. And then the blue with the sun hitting it. Looks nice. The door handles are integrated. They're electronic, right? So you put your finger in there, your fingers, and then you press the button. Opens up. Maserati on the door sill plate. Here's a really cool detail I wanted to show you. We have this dash clock here. It's digital, but then if we go down here to this screen, see the clock menu, and we can change it. So right now it's the clock at the little Maserati logo. You can make it into a compass. You can make it show your pedal bias. So there's brake, and then if you go power, and then it can also do G meter. So obviously we're stationary right now, so there's nothing, but that's a pretty cool little touch there. And I think also, if you use the built-in voice command, the status will show up there like it's listening to you. I have it set as clock now, but I think when I'm driving later, I'll go to G meter and see what that looks like. So that's pretty nifty. We have a little bit of a tunnel. Let's make some noise. Not bad. Check out this view up in the mountains. Just finished filming some B-roll, nice cinematic shots of the Grecale, and now we're gonna go hit some curvy roads, some GoPro setup for the review. Drove it up here and pretty impressed. This thing in sport mode with the dampers in sport setting is pretty good. Now I haven't gone to Corsa. Corsa turns off stability control and I heard it gets a little more firm. We'll try it out briefly, but Corsa is intended for the track. And I mean, the steering is nice. The body roll is controlled. This is a very nice driving crossover, and that twin turbo V6, that power is plentiful. 523 horsepower, 457 pound-feet of torque. It is pretty quick. Sounds nice too. 21-inch wheels with those Bridgestone Potenzas. I think somebody said at one point, like, can you imagine how good a tire has to be for an Italian brand not to use Pirellis? I feel like it's part of the Italian rules, right? To have Italian tires on their Italian cars. But Bridgestones, these Potenzas, 21-inch, how wide are these? The fronts are 255s, and out back we have 295, so pretty wide. Approaching the Maserati at night. Lights up as it senses me. We have a little light here in the And door handle opening too. Ooh. That's a cool touch. We have the Maserati Trident there. And then the outline. Ooh. Trofeo. We also have a little light up SF logo on the speaker for the Sonos Faber sound system. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's an Italian brand. This one has the 21 speaker sound system, and you see the ambient lighting. We can actually change the temperature. So we go to ambient light. There's not a bunch of different colors, but you can change the brightness, and if it goes warm or neutral, so that's a warmer shade, that's neutral, that's cold, and then you can turn it off. So not crazy LED adjustment, that just changes brightness. Just got a late night workout in. We are very low on fuel again, 43 miles to empty. We'll fuel up tomorrow morning and go for some more driving tomorrow, and we'll be soon concluding our time with the Grecale Trofeo. I will still do a more in-depth interior tour now that I've become quite familiar with this vehicle. We've done 381 miles this week so far, 11 hours in the car, averaging 16.7 mpg. That was closer to like 18, 19 until I spent 3 hours ripping this thing in the canyons, having a lot of fun, which promptly dropped it from like 18 to like 14. So it's kind of coming back now. I believe this is rated at 18 city, 25 highway, 20 combined. I think that's the Grecale Trofeo. Those numbers stick out in my head. We also have a cool graphic that shows up on the main screen when you change drive modes. So there's off-road, we have comfort, GT, got like a city landscape there, sport, gets a little more aggressive, and Corsa for the track. It would be cool if the Grecale matched the paint color of the one that you actually own, but nice little graphic that pops up. If you want it to go away, just hit the X. 14 gallons, $75. It is not cheap to drive a Maserati in California. Look at this! We found a Maserati Levante. Just a regular one, but that was the other SUV crossover that Maserati had in the lineup. I think they still build this. All right, let's do a daylight interior tour. The materials on the Grecale are definitely a step up. We've got nice leather here. This is more of that carbon fiber where you can actually feel the texture. You see yellow stitching, all leather, leather. Down here, is that leather too? I think so. We got the double speaker grills here, 21 speaker Sonos Faber sound system, the Artisans of Sound, Italian brand. And then coming across the middle, this is the air vent trim, which is pretty cool. A little digital screen in the middle with the Trident. Screens are off right now. It's got the headlight controls popped up even when the vehicle's off. I just opened the door, that woke up. This center thing is pretty cool because like the doors open that way. Carbon fiber, really deep cup holders, pretty nice center console storage down in there. And then there's a wireless charging pad underneath the lower screen. Again, materials are pretty nice. The headliner though, that's kind of interesting. It's not like Alcantara, but it's like a soft, squishy suede. We have the big panoramic roof there too. The yellow stitching, including the Trident. On the seats have that cool stitching pattern. And then let's check out the second row seats. Looks like we have a latch here. You can fold that down for a larger trunk. Load floor back here. Or fold it back. See how spacious it is. In the second row, and I'm pretty impressed. I've got quite good headroom here, and there's these cutouts in the back of the seats there, so I've got room for my knees. I'm 6'3", and for a compact crossover, I'm pretty impressed with the second row space. Materials seem pretty nice back here too. The back seats also have that yellow stitching you see on the headrest there. It's quite nice, and they have a little bit of sculpting to them where it like drops down, so a tiny bit of bolstering. Plenty of legroom actually, I'm impressed. Heated seats back here too. The new key fob is quite nice too. It's got leather here, metal on the sides, it's got a nice weight to it. The Maserati Trident embossed there, you can feel the texture. And you flip it over, we have the lock, unlock, trunk, and the hazard emergency alarm thing. It's a nice key fob. We're about to wrap up our time with the Grecale Trofeo. You drove the regular Gran Turismo on the MC20, right? But you haven't driven this one.
Yeah, so I hated Maserati for a long time with the Ghibli and the Levante.
I didn't like those either. Yeah.
Turned it around pretty hard.
Yes.
The MC20, epic car. It reminds me of like a little mini Ford GT kind of.
Ooh, that's high
like,
praise.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not quite as sensational as a Ford GT,
Okay.
but for 250 grand, you can get them used now for like 180. That's a hell of a car.
And the doors go up, which is always better, obviously, carbon 100%. Tub. This, again, similar powertrain. It's imagine a Gran Turismo in crossover form. Okay. I think that's going to be a pretty similar experience and everything. This is pretty good. I was going up here in the canyon roads. I mean, this is obviously way faster, but it can hold its weight. It's all-wheel drive with a rear bias and good amount of power.
Does this video go before or after the one where we pretend we don't know each other?
Who are you?
Oh, so we still don't know each other.
I actually have no idea. This is probably going to go... I think it has to go after.
I guess so.
Otherwise,
or you can just crop out what I just said.
No, it's fine. It'll be funny. No matter what. You guys probably know who Parker is. Probably. Hello. Yeah, maybe. Anyways, go check out the McLaren video that we did together.
Yeah.
This is after. The more time I've spent pushing the Grecale Trofeo on these nice curvy canyon roads, the more impressed I am. I think on canyon roads like this, sport with the dampers, you can change the dampers depending on the surface, because if it's too bumpy, you don't want the dampers to be too firm. Corsa, I think, maybe a little too extreme. It does lower the threshold for like stability control. It may turn it off completely, actually. But this thing handles itself quite nicely. I like the steering a lot. It got pretty good amount of confidence and the torque is good. I would take this up against a Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, which I think is my other favorite driving kind of performance crossover in this segment. Ironically, it is a platform ape, so I guess that makes a lot of sense. X3M competition is also really good, and the Macan is obviously also pretty good, like a Porsche, right? It is just quite a bit more expensive. This one as option is just under $120,000 or 105 base for the Trofeo. So it's about 10 to 20 grand more than a comparable X3M competition, a Jag F-Pace SVR, the Quadrifoglio, and so forth. Does it merit that? Well, it depends how much you value the Maserati Trident. It does bring a little bit more prestige. I don't want to say it's an entire step up. Like, this is not on the level of a Ferrari Purosangue, obviously not even close to the price point Lamborghini. It's not like that top tier of exotic, but it is, I think, a little bit up in prestige just because of the Italian flair, and that brings an allure compared to the mainstream German brands, right? Or the Alfa Romeo sibling. So hard to say it's absolutely worth it 100%, but I have absolutely enjoyed, and they have properly stepped it up. I did not like the Levante. Fully open about that. I did not enjoy the Levante. Wasn't impressed. Didn't love the Ghibli that much. I don't think I ever drove the Quattroporte, but never liked the way it looked. And this brings back kind of the old Maserati feel where it's like desirable. I remember wanting a Gran Turismo. I really wanted a Maserati Gran Turismo because it looked so good, had the V8, it sounded good, and hopefully with this new generation of cars, they're going to be bringing that back and kind of reinvigorating their brand. There's also going to be an electric version, the Folgore. I think that's what they're branding all their full electric versions, so there will be a full EV version of this. I also just got out of a McLaren 600 LT, and this now feels like a monster truck. I'm also noticing how different the personalities and the different drive modes are. I was just in GT and the throttle response was so lazy that coming off the line I was like, wait, is something wrong? So sport is still preferred, but when I'm just driving around normally, I take the dampers off. And then when you go into comfort, it does get quite a lot more comfortable. There's even an off-road mode, but I haven't needed off-road mode. Adjustable height air suspension is convenient too, but I think the big takeaway is there's actually a noticeable difference in personality of this car when you change the different drive modes. Alrighty, we are wrapping up our time with the Maserati Grecale Trofeo. Week living with this. Want to share some final thoughts. So styling is nice, interior big step up. It has a couple random little quirks. I've noticed a couple things. CarPlay sometimes intermittently would cut out audio. Now I don't know if that's the Uconnect based system in here, the CarPlay in the car itself, or maybe my phone, but I think my phone is fully updated. It's like a brand new iPhone. So I did notice that sometimes audio got a little choppy, and the infotainment can be a little finicky sometimes, and I think my least favorite part I discovered is the park, reverse, neutral, drive buttons. There's been a couple times you have to click it twice. Like I wanted to go from drive to reverse, and I clicked it, and I thought I had a firm enough click, but it didn't go into reverse, so I gotta click it again. Not my favorite part of the interface, but overall, interior has stepped up quite a lot. The powertrain is great, makes a lot of good power, and the personality changes a lot when you go between different drive modes. In GT and comfort, it is definitely much more grand touring and comfortable. Air suspension softens up, and the throttle response becomes super lazy. And then you turn it into sport, turn the dampers up, and it gets much more sharp and aggressive. And this thing in the canyons held its own. It did quite well. Now, the problem is the price point is relatively high. This one is optioned to almost $120,000, which is probably the most expensive in the segment. We're talking 15, 20K more than some other options. So again, how much do you want the Maserati brand? Do you want to be in something a little more unique, a little more upmarket, and with something that's starting to, I mean, fix their brand? Maserati is really improving a lot of things. If this was the previous gen, Ghibli, Levante, I'd be like, nah, I wouldn't do it. This, I like. And now I'm really looking forward to trying out the new Gran Turismo and the MC20, obviously. So with that, we'll conclude our time living with the Maserati Grecale Trofeo. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Thanks for watching.